Today I would like to present a new addition to my collection, a commemorative silver 2-mark coin of Prussia, featuring a portrait of Wilhelm II, issued to mark the 200th anniversary of the founding of the Kingdom of Prussia. Catalog number KM 525. I purchased this coin for €38. The seller described its condition as uncirculated, but we will return to the question of grading a little later. The Kingdom of Prussia was founded in 1701, when the Elector of Brandenburg crowned himself king in Prussia as Frederick I. Exactly 200 years later, in 1901, Prussia was no longer just a kingdom, but the political and institutional core of the German Empire. That is why this coin is not merely a commemorative issue, but a kind of manifesto of Prussian statehood on the eve of the 20th century. On the obverse, and yes, this is one of those cases where catalogs define the portrait side as the obverse and the heraldic side as the reverse, we see two portraits: Frederick I, the first king of Prussia, who founded the kingdom in 1701, Wilhelm II, the last German emperor and king of Prussia. This pairing is highly symbolic. The coin simultaneously emphasizes the beginning and the continuity of the Prussian monarchical era, uniting its origins and its final stage in a single image. It is important to remember that during the reign of Wilhelm II, Germany actively expanded its navy, international tensions increased, and the preconditions for a future war were taking shape. The reverse depicts a crowned imperial eagle with outstretched wings. On the eagle's breast is a shield bearing the Prussian coat of arms, emphasizing the special role of Prussia within the German Empire. This imagery combines imperial symbolism with Prussian identity, perfectly reflecting the idea of a commemorative issue dedicated to the 200th anniversary of the Kingdom of Prussia. Commemorative coins were not mass issues in the German Empire, and such releases always highlighted dynastic continuity, state stability, and the role of a specific constituent state within the empire. From a collector's perspective, this 2-mark coin is interesting for several reasons. It is a commemorative issue, not a regular circulation coin. It is directly linked to the history of Prussia, the key state of the German Empire. The portraits of Frederick I and Wilhelm II make it an important historical document of the era. The 2-mark denomination is a convenient and accessible format for collectors. At the same time, the market for such coins remains relatively calm, making it possible to find good examples without overpaying. Relief and details, a strong point. Wilhelm II's hair, sharp without noticeable smoothing. Faces of both rulers, crisp without flatness. Eagle on the reverse. Feathers are well defined, crown, claws, and fine elements are preserved. There is no actual wear to the relief. This corresponds to AU 58/low mint state level. Fields, the key point. This is where the nuance begins. On both sides, one can observe fine parallel lines, especially in the fields around the portraits and the eagle. These lines appear, not as signs of circulation wear, but as light friction/bag contact marks. Important, this is not aggressive cleaning, but these are also not pristine fields. For strict UNC MS, the fields should be noticeably cleaner. Luster. Luster is present, but it is not uniform across the surface. There is a sense of partial dulling, especially in the fields. This is typical for AU 58, less often for MS 60. Signs of circulation. No obvious dents, heavy marks, or rim damage. However, there are micro marks indicating brief contact with other coins. Most likely, the coin saw little to no actual circulation, but it was not perfectly isolated after minting. Final assessment. An honest collector's assessment, AU 58, the most accurate grade. UNC details, possible as a seller's description. MS 63+, no. Absolute UNC, no. In summary, realistic range, AU 55 to AU 58. Borderline chance, MS 60, but not higher. Let's consider whether it makes sense to submit this coin for grading. Costs: EU via NGC PCGS through a dealer. Grading plus shipping plus insurance, 45 to 70 euros. Turnaround time, 1 to 3 months. Total cost basis would rise to 80 to 100 euros. What would a slab add? If graded AU58, most likely outcome, market value approximately 45 to 60 euros, financial loss relative to costs. If graded MS60, optimistic scenario, market value approximately 65 to 80 euros at best, break even. MS62 plus, practically excluded based on the current condition of the fields. When grading would make sense. Grading can be considered if the coin is rare, the coin is expensive, or there is a clear upside from encapsulation. In this case, the coin is historically interesting but not rare and not particularly slab sensitive at AU-MS60 level. For a collection of German states coins, a raw AU58 is an absolutely normal and respectable format. Grading might make sense if you collect only slabbed coins or you plan a public sale in the US market. As an investment decision? No. Best decision right now? Keep the coin raw. Honestly describe it as AU58, my estimate. This coin is a perfect example of how UNC in a seller's description and the real grade are not always the same. That is exactly why I am not sending it for grading. For me, this coin is a logical continuation of the theme of German states before World War I. It fits very well into the collection both historically and visually, and clearly demonstrates how coins can be used to read the ideology and ambitions of an era. I would be very interested to know whether you agree with my grading assessment.